The NBA team in Oklahoma City is starving for victories, but is there another category available to them? I'm Mike Sherman, and this is Inside Thunder Basketball with Darnell Mayberry. Darnell, the word moral victory is being bandied about sometimes after Thunder losses on the road, especially losses like they had this weekend, one at Dallas, one at San Antonio, in which they, one, had the Mavericks down and really should have beaten them, and then battled back to make the Spurs game a game. Is there such a thing in the NBA as a moral victory?
Well, no, and all 30 teams in the league will tell you that. But you brought up a good point. They talk after losses like they are moral victories. And I think what you're seeing is a young team developing. And you know, Coach Brooks and his staff and the players realize that this is a young team, and they realize that this is a process that they have to get better. And so they want to at least acknowledge the areas in which they're getting better. And so after games, I think you do hear them sort of acknowledge that and praise the development that they've shown in some of those tough losses, those close losses.
So it's almost like there are no moral victories, but if there were, here's why we might like to claim this one as a moral victory.
Yeah, and because it's such a young team, you have to acknowledge the development that you're seeing when they go down to Dallas and San Antonio and only lose by no more than 5-6 points to both of those teams. So it's a development process, and they realize that, and I think they have to acknowledge it, because you don't always want to beat them up if they go down and play well against teams that probably could have defeated them a lot worse than they did.
Okay, use the word process, which is a word that you've spotlighted, that Scott Brooks uses a lot, that Sam Presti uses a lot. What is the process?
Well, the process is, I was actually talking to one of the assistant GMs in a recent road trip in Orlando, and he was saying to me that the process is, first you have to learn how to be competitive. Before you can start winning games, you have to learn how to be competitive. And until you can be competitive, you can't win games. You have to be competitive, you have to learn how to play the right way, and then you start winning. So I think right now they're being competitive. They finally learned how to be competitive. And then I think in the next month or two, you're going to see wins start to pile up. And then going in the next season, I think that's when they're going to really start to win more games.
It's a tough stretch. A tough home stretch this week at the Ford Center. Starting Tuesday night against the Los Angeles Clippers, a team the last time they saw them was in disarray, or it seemed to be. That's now won 3 out of 4. Tuesday night, the Clippers. What do you see about that game?
It's a tough game. I mean, you got Chris Kaman, Marcus Camby. You have Zach Randolph, who they just acquired in a trade with the Knicks. And Baron Davis is still one of the best point guards in the league. So they have a lot of tough matchup problems that they're going to present for the Thunder. And they're playing well right now. I think they've won 3 or 4. They have a lot of scores. They got defenders in Marcus Camby. They got young guys in Al Thornton and Eric Gordon, the rookie. So they have a lot of matchup problems. And the Thunder, they got to come in here and hope that, the Thunder plays well, gets back at home, and sort of uses the crowd to lift them to a home victory.
The last time that the Clippers were here, that was the next to the last game of P.J. Carlesimo. The Clippers' inside game really took them out. Marcus Camby, Chris Kaman. Chris Kaman's been hurt and not playing, but you mentioned Zach Randolph, who's been killing people lately.
Yeah, the trade I thought was going to hurt him. It actually helped him. He's averaging more points, I think 26 points and 11 rebounds since the trade. So I think that's actually helped him. I thought it was going to hurt him going to play with Marcus Camby and Chris Kaman in that front court, but it's helped him. And he's a guy who can score inside. He can take you outside. If you remember, when the Thunder went to New York and played the Knicks, Zach Randolph was a guy who really hurt them. So they got to find an answer for Zach Randolph. Chris Wilcox is saying he might play in that game tomorrow. He's coming back from that dislocated ring finger. He could help them try to contain Zach Randolph.
Okay, then Friday night, the Toronto Raptors are in town, a franchise that joined the Fire the Coach Club, which is, there's been more coaches fired in the NBA this season before Christmas than ever before. Sam Mitchell out. The new guy, what are they doing in Toronto these days?
Well, they finally gotten Jermaine O'Neal back healthy, so he's going to help them. That's another front court that's going to be tough with Jermaine O'Neal and Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh is playing like a man who really wants the MVP award this season, and he could get it if Toronto starts winning. He's going to be in the thick of a race with Kobe Bryant, Chris Paul, LeBron James, and Dwayne Wade. But Chris Bosh is probably in Dwight Howard. Chris Bosh is in that 5-6 man category right now that you talk about for MVP.
Now, he's going to have to live with others receiving votes because he's not getting the MVP. But both of these teams present a problem for the Thunder in that there's a post-scoring presence and good shooters on the perimeter. And they're going to have to chase. They're going to have to try to help inside and chase. That's a tough combination. And then Sunday, one of the best games of the year from a fan standpoint is LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers come to town. What do you think of that game?
Christmas comes early for Oklahoma City. I mean, LeBron James probably is going to win the MVP this year. I mean, Chris Paul, his team is not doing as well as LeBron's. LeBron's putting up great numbers. He's a show. I mean, LeBron puts on a show when he comes to town. So any fan that gets to see LeBron, I mean, that's just a treat.
Okay, and let's talk about the Thunder for a second. 2-23. And then last week came the comparisons. The dreaded 72-73 Philadelphia 76ers, a team that won 9 games and lost 73. And is the Thunder going to match that or be worse? Now, what's your take on all that?
You know, I think these weekend games showed you that the improvement is evident. You know, they went to Dallas, they competed. They went to San Antonio, they competed. I think they're going to start winning those close games. It's going to be awfully hard for this team to only win 7 more games the rest of the season. I think they'll have 15 to 20 wins, somewhere around that range before it's all said and done. I don't think the 76ers have anything to worry about. That record, I think, will still be intact.
Now, Darnell, about this team right now, it really looks like Jeff Green is coming into his own and really starting to play with a great deal of confidence and doing all kinds of things on the court. I wonder, who's the best player on this team really, Jeff Green or Kevin Durant?
Kevin Durant, without question. I mean, Kevin Durant, he showed you with the 4 blocks in San Antonio that he's starting to learn how to do it all. I mean, Jeff Green is a better all-around player, I think, at this point in their careers. Jeff Green plays defense better. He rebounds better. He's a better passer. But Kevin Durant is a much better scorer. And I think those 4 blocks against San Antonio showed you that he's improving his all-around game. And as the season goes on and as they develop in their careers, Kevin Durant, I think, his ceiling is a lot higher than Jeff Green's. So I think from that standpoint, you have to say Kevin Durant.
Thanks, Darnell. Listen, the Thunder's got 3 home games this week, Tuesday against the Clippers, on Friday against the Toronto Raptors, and then on Sunday against the Cleveland Cavaliers in a showcase game for Oklahoma City. That's all for Inside Thunder Basketball with Darnell Mayberry. Please stay with the best coverage team anywhere every day at newsok.com and in the New Look Oklahoman.